What do you make of the judge's decision?
Well, I think I deserve my title, the Nostradamus of the law. I tend to get I don't make them based on wishful thinking. My wish was that he had disqualified the whole team and actually recommended criminal investigation of Willis and her boyfriend. That's what I wanted. But I predicted he would try to split the baby in half, and I think the baby died. The opinion makes no sense at all. It's not essentially an honest opinion in the end. We all saw the obvious conflict of interest. We all saw that she lied on the witness stand about her relationship and when it started. We all saw that she lied when she said she paid back every single penny, although I didn't keep any records of it. There are no ATMs. I didn't take a photograph of the money. I know I have an obligation under the rules of Georgia to make sure that every penny is paid back, but I was just going to have my word be enough to defend that. The judge applied the wrong standard, the wrong legal rule, but most importantly, he didn't tell us what we all know, that this is corrupt to the core and that it can't be solved by sacrificing Nathan Wade and saying, look, let's get rid of him. We'll keep the rest of the office on. I would expect and hope that the Trump team would appeal this. Now, the rules vary all over about whether you can take an interlocutory appeal from an order, which is not a final order, but it's an order which is final insofar as it allows her to continue to remain on the case. If they don't take that interlocutory order now, this will certainly be a major issue on appeal because the judge applied the wrong standard. The judge basically said you had to prove the unprovable. You had to prove by a high standard, you had to prove that the only reason this investigation and prosecution was commenced was in order to enrich Willis and her boyfriend. No, that wasn't the argument. The argument is that they were enriched, they did have a conflict of interest, and that the public all saw that. And so I'm very disappointed in the judge. I thought he would, I never believed he would have the courage to look Fani Willis in the eye and say, you can't be on this case. He came close, but close isn't enough when you need to see justice. So I don't think justice is being done in this case.
I see this as a judge who found a way to tell us he gets it. He condemns her and Nathan Wade. He doesn't trust them. He thinks they're liars and unethical, but he saved his own hide. He made sure that he can still run and potentially win re-election in Fulton County, which went 73% for Joe Biden. He found a way to thread the needle to protect himself while throwing them under the bus as much as he felt comfortable.
I don't think he threaded the needle. I think he tried to thread the needle, but it didn't work. I think that when you read the opinion, the logic falls apart. All the things he says about her, which are correct, should definitely lead to the conclusion that the defendants are entitled to a prosecutor who didn't commit this act of bad judgment, who didn't engage in all this professional misconduct. A prosecutor is as important to the case as a judge. Prosecutors have to make decisions, not only whether to prosecute, not to prosecute, but how to conduct the trial. There are going to be issues that come up. And the public has the right not to trust this prosecutor to do anything. I hope the public in Fulton County has enough wisdom to throw her out of office in her election bid, but I now think that they ought to throw the judge out of office too. Judges need to show courage. He showed some courage. He showed some. But in the end, the decision is not a just decision. There was overwhelming evidence of a conflict of interest. People are in prison on the basis of far less evidence than this. When you listen to the evidence about the cell phone records, you know that she committed perjury when she said, "Oh, we started our relationship only after he was." When she lies like that in front of this judge on the witness stand, that's disqualifying.
He focused in on the fact that, I'm quoting here from the opinion, he says this is the most important piece of him not finding an actual conflict of interest. More important, the court finds, based largely on the district attorney's testimony, that the evidence demonstrated that the financial gain flowing from her relationship with Wade was not a motivating factor on the part of the district attorney to indict and prosecute this case. He doesn't think it's the reason she brought it, pointing out that she was not financially destitute throughout this time or in any great need, as she testified that her salary exceeds $200,000 per year, and thus concluded the defendants have failed to demonstrate that the DA's conduct has impacted or influenced the case to the defendant's detriment. You're saying his conclusion that she wasn't motivated by money in indicting this case is not the proper standard to be applying in figuring out whether there's an actual conflict of interest.
That's absolutely right. Moreover, he never should have said that he based anything on her testimony. Nobody should base any conclusion on her testimony. We know she lied about when the affair began. And there's a principle of law: when a witness lies about one fundamental fact, you don't believe the rest of their testimony. So he did a disservice by suggesting that he based his decision somewhat on her testimony. But it's obviously the wrong standard. Just to take an absurd case, let's assume that there was no motivation. There's a perfect reason to prosecute him, but then she gets rich the more if she gets a conviction, or gets rich if the case goes on for a long time and her boyfriend then can bill more hours. It's not just how the prosecution began, it's as the prosecution continues, is there a financial issue here? And I think the public has the right to say that $720 whatever thousand dollars that she may have gotten a kickback from in the form of American Express proof that she was taken at his expense on these elaborate trips, and then she testifies that she paid him back in cash. First of all, the court has applied the wrong standard there. The burden of proof shifts back to her. Once you can
He did not say that. Yeah, this is important. Keep going.
Once you can prove that her trips were paid for by American Express cards, once you can prove that, and that they have the burden of proving that, then the burden shifts to her to demonstrate she paid back every penny. And she didn't satisfy that burden because all she said was, it's a black thing. We keep a lot of money around. No, I didn't have any ATM receipts. I didn't have any other records. Under the law, under the rules, she has to pay back every penny. You'd think any lawyer who'd pay back the money would take a photograph of the money being paid back, would keep records, even make a note of it. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So I just don't believe it. And I don't think he believes it. But, he had a result in mind, I think. Judges often do. And he figured out a way of splitting the baby, but it didn't work. This doesn't work.
I want to tell you about the Association of Mature American Citizens, or AMAC, an organization dedicated to America's seniors. AMAC stands out today by not only advocating for senior issues, but also by pushing for conservative values that affect us all. If you join, you're not just supporting America's senior citizens, you can become part of a movement defending our freedoms and securing our nation's future. Plus, membership brings you exclusive benefits like discounts on travel, dining, entertainment, and special insurance rates. Regardless of your age, if you're driven to preserve freedom, AMAC welcomes you. Sign up now at amac.us/Megyn. And for a limited time, get a free gift membership for someone who shares your love of our great nation. Don't miss out on this chance to make a difference with AMAC. Join today at amac.us/Megyn and extend the invitation to a friend or family member for free. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.